Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So today we're starting the 32nd verse, and in the last few verses Guruji has concluded 4 verses talking about all of the qualities needed to overcome the challenges presented by the mind, to conquer the mind, and to overcome the distractions of the world. So if we just recap what these qualities are that the Guru's talked about. Guru started by talking about contentment, munda santokh. Guruji talked about effort, awareness, an awareness of death, self-restraint, trust, universal brotherhood, wisdom of the oneness, compassion, recognizing a vibration of oneness in all and everyone, understanding your destiny of things being brought into your life and taken away from your life, this destiny of union and separation, to transcend Maya, and to be aware of the ever-watchful nature of the divine. And Guruji has ended all of the 4 verses with the same statement of utter reverence and humility, egolessness towards this one timeless force, by saying, I bow to this, I bow, Ades, the Se Ades, to the one that was the very beginning, the pure, beyond beginning and unending, Ad, Anil, Anad, Anahat, Jug Jug Eko Ves, only one form throughout the ages. So with all of these qualities that Guru has mentioned, we can now really start looking at our life and start assessing how we measure up to these qualities. So we can start using all the things that the Guru has told us in a really practical way. And we need to look at where we can make adjustments in our life. And to me, this is how I think Gurbani should be looked at. I think this is how we should be studying, almost as though the Guru is the teacher, we are the students, and the message of Gurbani is the syllabus. Except the only thing that's different to a normal school is that the subject that we're studying is ourselves. The very thing that we need to learn more about is ourselves. So all the qualities that the Guru has mentioned, those need to be adopted in our lives, and we need to continuously reflect on where we are with those qualities. And in reality, if we think about it, what more does the Guru have to teach you? How many more lessons can the Guru give us? What is left to be said that hasn't already been said? It's now time to actually take those things on in our life. How many times has Guru drummed in the same message again and again? But the reality is that the mind doesn't listen. The ego doesn't want to let go. The ego doesn't want to let you go. Because if you let go of the ego, then the ego has nothing to hold on to. So the ego feeds off your mind. It feeds off your anxieties, it feeds off your stress, it feeds off your desires, your hopes, and it feeds off this idea that you need to be sustained. The idea of I needs to continue. And because we've learnt all the lessons, we've heard all the lectures that the Guru has to teach us, but because we haven't managed to let go, the Guru continuously is there to teach us, like a loving parent. If you think of a small child learning to take its first steps, it keeps falling over, it keeps having to make mistakes, but the parent doesn't get annoyed. The parent just sits there patiently and is always there to pick up the child when the child makes that mistake, when the child falls down again, and the parent is always there to support and keep encouraging the child. In the same way, the Guru is there for us all the time, always giving us the same message, always there to support us so that we can continue along this path. So this is the path of realization. We are trying to realize what we are. But the question is, what if we were to achieve all of these above qualities? What if we had contentment in our life? What if we had compassion, trust, and understanding of hukam? Would that be enough? At that point, can we say that we've become self-realized? It actually sounds like quite a lot of hard work. There's quite a lot of different things that the Guru has mentioned already. If we go back and think about all the lessons that we've learnt throughout JAPJI Sahib, actually the student can start getting really overwhelmed. And then the student can go back and say, but isn't there an easier way? Surely there's something simpler, more direct than having to come up with all of these new, different aspects to our character. But the path that we've begun now is the path of the saint. And the path of the saint has always been described as difficult, and has always been said that it isn't for everyone. It isn't possible for everyone to achieve this. It's just too much. It is always said that this is going to be restricted to the few. And although Guruji has highlighted all of these different qualities, it doesn't mean that we make these qualities our goal. Our goal isn't, I want to be more compassionate. I want to be more content. So these are just signposts along the path. If we think about a path, the reason for the Guru showing us all of these things are so that we can know that we're on that right path. Have I got less anger in my life? Have I got more acceptance? Have I got the ability to see through Maya? These are signposts, these aren't the destination itself. Because if these were your destinations, then what would your conclusion be? I am content. I am compassionate. I have trust. You may have all these things, but the problem is that you still have I. So these can never be the goals. This is precisely the trap that the Guru is trying to take you out of. So the Guru is there to show you the way. The Guru shows us the signposts, and the Guru is always there to bring us back onto the path when we've gone astray, when we've fallen off the path. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji here is now reminding us that Naam is the main goal. Naam is the thing that we're heading towards. Naam is the real tool that's going to carry us along this path. And where does the destination lead? Well, Guru already talked about the 3 states of Maya, and then the 4th state, which was called the Turiya state. That state where you've transcended Maya, where you've transcended this notion of I am, me. And the state of Turiya is the final state of complete merging and union with the greater oneness. And this is how Guruji begins the 32nd verse. Ik du jeeb ho lak hohe lak hovehe lak vis. So the word ikdu. Here the word ikdu does not mean ikdo. It doesn't mean 1 and 2. Here the word du means from. Ikton in Punjabi we would say. So ikdu is when you take 2 words like ikton, from one. From one. The word ikdu should actually be one word. But what we see now in the modern printed gutkas is that it's been split into two different words, but in reality these are two words that are being brought into one. So ikdu is the way that the word should be written, as one word, not separate. We've seen an example of this again in the 21st Pauri, Nanak akhan sabko akhe ikdu ik syana. So Nanak says, becoming talkers, everyone talks and thinks that ikdu ik syana, one from one to another is cleverer, one is more clever than the other. Ikdu ik syana. Ikdu jibho. Now, this is a unique spelling that we have here, which is worth highlighting. So the word comes from the Punjabi word jeeb, which is tongue. But what we see here is the use of kanora. And when you have in Gurmukhi a kanora added to the end of a noun, the name of any word, it is to replace what we call in English grammar a preposition. So prepositions are linking words. They're small words that you usually put before a noun. So we could say from, for, before, after, in, at, these kind of small words. So where in Punjabi grammar we see a kanora over a word, it is to replace a preposition. So here, it doesn't just mean tongue, it means from a tongue, from. So it's replacing this word, from. We've seen one other example of this right at the beginning of Pauri 4, Muha ke bolan boliye. So again, we had a kanora. And rather than the word mu, which means mouth, muha means from the mouth. And something worth mentioning here is the pronunciation is an ow sound rather than an o sound. If it was a hora, it would be jibo. But this is a kanora which is ow, jibo. Ikdu jibo, muhao ke bolan boliye. So just a pronunciation to be aware of, so that you know the difference when you're actually using the two different vowels. You should be able to hear it when you're saying it. So here we will say ikdu jibo. And the next word is luck. Luck in Indian counting systems is one word to represent 100,000. Luck. Ikdu jibho lakh hohe. If one tongue became 100,000, if from one tongue 100,000 appeared, ikdu jibho lakh hohe. If one tongue became 100,000 tongues, then again Guru says lakh hohe. Again, those 100,000 tongues become another 100,000 tongues, and from those you get lakhavis. Lakhavis means 20 lakhs. And in English we don't really talk about grouping numbers in hundreds of thousands. We don't have a word like that. We have a word for 1,000, and then the next word that we have would be 1,000,000. So we have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and then you get 1,000,000. 20 times 100,000 is 2 million. So what Guruji is saying here is, imagine that you have one tongue right now, and that tongue gets multiplied to 100,000 tongues. And those 100,000 tongues each become 100,000 more, and those 100,000 more become 2 million more. Imagine how many that would be. So what Guruji is really highlighting here is what we use our tongue for. How much effort does it take to recite Naam in our life? We think it's something extremely complicated, but in reality, it just takes a second and you can recite the Naam. Any Naam. and it takes 1 second to say it once. Just for a moment, imagine that you were able to say it for every second in 24 hours. How much naam would you be able to jap? We say we don't have time to jap naam. If you dedicated 1 day in your life and just recited it with every single second, with just one tongue, every word for every second in 1 day, you would recite 86,400 times in just 1 day. In 1 year, you would recite 31.5 million times. And if you lived to an average age of about 80, in your lifetime you would jump 2.5 billion times. That's how close it is to you. There's nothing else for you to do. If you could just recite again and again and again, how much naam would you be able to jap? And still we think we don't have time for naam. And all in reality it takes is 1 second. Do you have a second to recite that naam right now? And the reality is you don't even have to stop what you're doing to jap naam. You can do it while doing anything else. You can recite it anywhere, at any time, whilst doing anything. So why have we made naam so difficult? Why have we made it so complicated? What can be simpler? And when we break it down into the number of seconds that we have in our day, the number of breaths, the number of opportunities that we have in just 1 day, then we realize that the only real lesson is this. This is what the Guru's been telling us all along. And how many breaths have you wasted? How many opportunities have you had so far? And how many other words have you recited in that time? What else has been more important that you've dedicated those words rather than the words of naam? If you were to ask someone, what is the one message of the Guru? The one message of the Guru, the answer would be, is to recite naam. This is how simple it can be. So what are we saying with our tongue that we think is more beneficial to say? What can we say that's better for us than this? And we have a tongue, we have the ability to speak, but still naam seems to evade our lips. And yet, when that happens, it's so easy to blame absolutely everything else. And what we're doing is we are not taking responsibility for the fact that we just haven't prioritized naam in our life. We haven't given it that priority. So the Guru proposes an idea. Would it help if you had 100,000 tongues? Would it help if you had a couple of million tongues? Then will you recite? Is that the point at which you'll say, yes, I'll be ready?